Yep, here we go, their main event time. 12 rounds of boxing in front of us. Matthew Hatton against Andrei Abramenka. And, of course, the IBF International Welterweight Title on the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, 12 3-minute rounds of boxing for the IBF International Welterweight Championship.
Now, I've got to say, Richie, that I did see Matthew Hatton many, many moons ago. And he actually lost on that occasion against David Keir, if I remember rightly. And I'm delighted he's come on a bomb. So round one it is of a scheduled dozen. And I'll be surprised if this goes more than halfway, Richie.
Yeah, so will I. And Matthew, you've got to remember, he's had some great experience, hasn't he? Boxing on the undercard to his brother out in Vegas. He really has been all over the world, boxed in some great venues. So now this is back to bread and butter stuff here, Steve.
Yeah, a bit of a come down from a WBC title fight to be boxing for an international title. But of course, these are the ones you've got to win, Richie.
Yeah, you've got to stay focused. Obviously, he wants to box for another world title and be up there with the big boys. So yeah, he's got to take care of this fella first. And you've got to give it 100% every single contest.
I know it's difficult, really, and you know, we probably really shouldn't do it to compare paper records. You know, knowing that Abramenka got a draw with a man that Hatton beat in 3. You know, I mean, on a form line, of course, that suggests that Hatton will walk all over this guy, but that's not always the case, is it?
You have to remember as well, Abramenka is he's unbeaten, isn't he? So he's never tasted defeat.
Yep, and Matthew Hatton's record, 41 wins, very good. Only 16 inside, 5 defeats and 2 draws in 48 outings. And that's an awful lot more than his opponent. 31 more fights. Well, not too much coming on the offensive here from Abramenka. But having said that, Richie, so often, of course, in the first round, both fighters tend to take a bit of time out, take a look at each other and see what they're up against.
Yeah, just having a look at each other, aren't they? And Matthew's boxing well here behind that jab. Just sizing his opponent up, coming forward. So he's winning the round.
But yeah,
they're both having a look at each other, Steve, early on.
And an entirely different opponent to Hatton from his brother Ricky, who's here. Ricky, of course, a former 2-time world champion, 2-weight world champion. And Matthew, you know, a complete opposite, really, isn't he? He's much more of a boxer, doesn't have the same kind of power or the same ethos, really.
Well, he's a different type of boxer, as you said. He's more of a mid-range fighter, where Ricky Hatton was more of a short-range man. You know, in on his opponent's chest. Used to work very well at close quarters, did Ricky. But Matthew is slightly different. He's not that type of style. He's more a mid-range boxer.
Well, I've got to say, he's a decent technician, Abramenka. Yeah, very orthodox, nice tight defence as well. But a decent start there for Matthew Hatton, wins the first. Referee for this one is my old friend Marcus McDonald, and 3 judges, Howard Foster, Dave Paris and Phil, sorry, my apologies. And yeah, Phil Edwards. And the IBF supervisor is Vaughan Laprade from Richmond, Virginia. And we are, of course, looking here at Andrei Abramenka from Belarus. 17 fights under his belt. Former Belarus light welterweight champion back in 2008. Mick Williamson there on the left-hand side. He's the cut man. And, of course, Bob Shannon, the trainer.
Yeah, yeah. We can go those there. Keep the bonus 10 seconds. Like you do. Keep really focused.
So round 2 it is of a schedule 12. And as I said, I'd be quite surprised if this goes beyond halfway.
Good work again for Hatton with that jab there, and there's that right hand. So he's growing in confidence now, is Matthew, working behind that jab, looking to land the right hand, but also left hooks as well. That's a nice short little left hook there.
but he's up against a very decent orthodox boxer here who's got a tight defence. And the one thing, of course, that's guaranteed to upset that orthodox attitude is a good whack to the head.
Yeah, there wasn't a bad shot there from Abramenka, but he just caught Matthew Hatton rushing in a little bit there. Just made the mistake of rushing in and got caught with a shot, and that's why there's a little smirk, little smile. He knew what he'd done wrong there, Matthew. So he's got to work more beyond that jab if he's going to close that gap down, that double jab especially. And that's when he'll bring his right hand into play after that.
Well, certainly been a better round this second than the opener was for Abramenka, but of course, can he do enough work consistently to take rounds away from Hatton? And that looks unlikely, Richie.
Well, he's decided to box totally on the back foot, and although he's getting through with the odd shot here and there, he's been a bit negative for me, Steve. I think he needs to just stand his ground now and again, like here now, and start landing some shots, because it just looks like that Matthew's coming forward, he's dictating, he's bossing the contest. And it's when it is close, you're always going to favour a man coming forward, really, to be quite honest.
Well, Hatton there taking one to land two. But I've got to say, Richie, I'm reasonably impressed with the style here of Abramenka. He's a very decent boxer.
He's caught Matthew with a couple of good right hands, Steve, and he works well to the body as well. But I'd just like to see him step forward now and again and just push Matthew Hatton maybe on the back foot. Matthew's doing everything right in terms of coming forward. Just gets caught with the odd right hand. That was better from Matthew Hatton. That's much better. Yeah, but Abramenka's got some good skills, good left hook.
Well, that said, I mean, a decent round for Abramenka, but I think overall, Hatton again. So there he is, and that's Andrei Abramenka in the blue corner. And you know, just to reiterate, once again, a decent boxer. And there is Matthew Hatton.
Well, I think Abramenka was a little bit closer to Hatton in that second round in terms of winning the round, but I don't think he did enough to win it. Totally on the back foot, you see. It's very difficult to impress. He's not throwing enough punches. Matthew Hatton's coming forward and pushing his man onto the ropes here. And yeah, overall in that round, it was a closer round, but Hatton just got the nod again.
So round three then at the Tower Circus, and the vacant IBF International Welterweight title on the line here. Matthew Hatton in the gold shorts in action against Andrei Abramenka. First couple of rounds have gone Hatton's way. And he's upping the pace, Richie, ever so slightly as this one goes on.
Yeah, well, that's what he's got to do, Stevie. He's got to sustain a little bit more pressure here, Matthew Hatton, and maybe double up the attacks. You know, start off with one attack and then spring straight away into another attack which pushes your man further back.
Well, that was a decent right from Abramenka.
Yeah, better work from Abramenka. Just caught Hatton with that right hand as he's coming forward. Matthew occasionally drops that left hand as he's coming forward, and that's why he's been open to the odd right hand, and he's been caught with a couple of shots. So as he's coming forward, that's a good jab. He needs to keep that left hand slightly higher because he's been caught with the odd single right hand from Abramenka.
Well, we know how unpredictable this game can be, Rich. I remember you fought the Australian Gordiosi for the Commonwealth title, and I think with the first punch you knocked him spark out.
Yeah, well, you have those nights though, Steve. Sometimes it just all goes right for you.
Well, that could still happen for either one of these. Not that quickly, of course, but, you know, all of a sudden, Abramenka could land a haymaker. Who knows? So could Matthew.
Well, he's just made Matthew Hatton think in this round here, because he caught Hatton with a good right hand at the start of the round, and that's just made Matthew just not come forward so much. That's better. That was a good body shot there.
But he did go to war, didn't he, for 12 rounds against Alvarez. You know, and if Alvarez couldn't put him away within 12 rounds, I doubt very much whether Abramenka can. But of course, what has the Alvarez fight taken out of Hatton?
Well, Abramenka, the bad news for Abramenka, he's only knocked out 3 opponents, hasn't he, in all the victories that he's had, so he's not really known as a big puncher. However, when your opponent's coming forward, and if you catch him as he's coming forward, obviously that doubles the power up a little bit. So Matthew has got to watch what he's doing here as he's coming forward. That was a good body shot. I mean, you've seen Abramenka just smile there, just to say, well, you didn't hurt me, but when they smile, it means that they did it.
Absolutely.
They hurt it.
And you really do know you've hurt them when they smile at you from the canvas.
See, that's just slowed Abramenka up a little bit. So he's gone on the back foot. That was all from that body shot.
Yes, and now he's reverting to type, of course, going back to the old orthodox boxing that he's known for. And that's what, you know, that's what you tend to do. You know, you revert to type, don't you, when the pressure's on.
Another round for Hatton there.
Yes, despite the odd moment for Abramenka.
As soon as you do that, get back on your jab, put him on his back foot. Don't look at him. Use your jab. As soon as you hit him up the belly, straight into the jab, right hand, take downstairs again. That hurt him. Yeah.
Abramenka just going to the body here. There's that left hook from Matthew Hatton. That was a good shot.
But it was the body punch that you picked up on in that particular round that took the steam out of Abramenka.
Like say, hunt him down, get the pressure on him, then jab, then right hands. Okay, feel good. Yeah.
Bonus 10 seconds.
So here we go then. This is round 4. And as I said, I'd be quite surprised if this goes beyond halfway. But I might be eating my words.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, I didn't look like the look of the body language there from Abramenka sitting on that stool. He was huffing and puffing. And he looked at his coach, and I was just thinking, there was just signs there for me that he wasn't comfortable at all.
Yes, I've got a feeling here that Matthew saw that as well. Yeah, once again, Matthew Hatton started reasonably quickly here, and Abramenka looking quite uncomfortable out there. Don't get me wrong, he's composed, but not doing a great deal. Big clumping right over the top from Hatton.
Yeah, he's growing in confidence now, Hatton. I think that the corner have said to him, listen, you know, step on the gas a bit here. You've hurt this guy downstairs.
Well, it's a case of more body shots required.
And Matthew, remember, he's done, what, 4 or 5 12-round contests before. He's very well experienced. Abramenka's just done the one.
And that was a draw, of course, against the man that Hatton's already stopped. And our referee, Marcus McDonald, of course, brother of Jim McDonald, a former British and European feather and super featherweight champion. Who, by the way, was exceptionally unlucky against Azuma Nelson, if you remember rightly.
Yeah, it's very true. He was a good fighter, wasn't he, Jim McDonald? Always very fit as well. That was much better from that. Yeah, and again, oh, he's complaining at the back of the head.
Well, it wasn't. It was on the side of the head.
On the side, rather.
And that is perfectly legal, target-wise. Nice uppercut. Good timing there.
I think Matthew Hatton here just senses that he's much stronger than this fella. And he does look much bigger, Steve. Looks more compact. Looks more of a welterweight than his opponent.
Well, I think it's pretty fair to say that Matthew Hatton's been something of a late developer, but, you know, he's having a bit of a purple patch now, isn't he, these days? And a good round there from him. So 4-4 then for Hatton, 40-36. And my old mate John Donnelly's asked me to give a big get well soon to Frank Ellis, who's not too well. And also there's a Kirkman filed gym opening up very shortly in St Anne's on Sea, which is apparently not too far from here. So Blackpool doing well at the moment, Richie?
Yeah, they are doing well. The rich tradition, haven't they, of good boxing. But you just felt that there, Steve, in that round, that Matthew Hatton is gaining in confidence second by second.
There we go, round 5, and Richard just made the point there that Hatton is growing in confidence now, which is hardly surprising. Things have gone mainly his way, haven't they?
Yeah, he's been caught with the odd shot here and there, the right hand, but that's to be expected as he's coming forward. But he's really, you know, he's gaining in confidence. Abramenka, although the odd shot like that one there, they really are bouncing off Hatton. And Hatton now, lovely little screw shot that was.
And it looks almost like there's a degree of inevitability in the framework here of Abramenka, almost as if he knows he's going to lose this inside at some point, and it's like he's waiting for it to happen. Is that fair?
Well, yeah, I think it is fair, but what Abramenka's got to do, he's got to keep moving here, Steve, because once he stands in front of Matthew Hatton, he's there to be hit. And that's when Hatton really is going to town on him. But when he's moving, then he's proving more elusive, and it's a little bit more difficult for Hatton. But you just feel that Hatton, the way he's going, he's going to catch him, he's going to hurt him with one of those body shots, as he did earlier on in the contest.
Yes, and Abramenka now showing signs of being very dispirited here, which is hardly surprising. He's not getting a great deal of success, and he is getting hit and hurt. One or two minor infringements from Matthew, but nothing to worry about. That's better.
See, there was a clear example of Hatton prepared to take his opponent's shots to land his own. And his guard was good there. He took him on the elbows and on the arms, but then he responded really, really quickly.
Well, we do know that Abramenka can't break the proverbial egg, and you know, of course, that gives you fantastic confidence, doesn't it? I've got to say that Hatton has dismantled this man gradually, hasn't he?
Well, that's what he's doing here. Just taking him apart bit by bit.
Yeah, and psychologically, of course, it does have I say physically, it does have a psychological effect as well.
Well, you find, Steve, that when you get an opponent like this, that it is hard to break down and soaks the head shots up. It'll be the body punches that will break him down eventually. And maybe that's what he's got to concentrate on here, Matthew Hatton. Yeah,
well, it was the best success I think he's had so far. The most notable success, anyway, was a left hook to the body.
Yeah.
Well, he still won the round out of sight. Well, Matthew's got to stop him in this 6th round if my prediction is going to come true. If it doesn't, I've blown it.
when you're there, the only time you get a bit of success is when you let him come forward. Just push him back all the time, get that jab, bang, and rhythm, get that rhythm all the time. That right hand, so start throwing a few right hands over the top now, and then body shots when you catch.
Good work from Hatton here, pushing his man back onto the ropes. Just let him off there. But it was good on the front foot. Very little coming back from Abramenka.
10 seconds.
Here we go then, this is the halfway, sorry, no, this is round 6, it's not the halfway point yet.
Round 6.
And I've got to say that Matthew Hatton appears to have won all previous 5. Well, that was a bit low, but round the side.
And this really is a step up in class for Abramenka, Steve, because looking at his record, he's only boxed two fighters with winning records. I mean, that just says it all, you know.
Yes, indeed, and I'd say more than a step up in class, Richie. This is a bit of a mountain to climb, really, for Abramenka, and there's no way he can win this fight. But of course, the question now is how long can he last?
I think Abramenka has decent skills. He's not a bad boxer, but he just hasn't got the power. And Hatton, he took a few shots here and there, but they're literally bouncing off him as he's walking forward. And Hatton knows he's got to get to his man, he's got to close him down. And that's why he's just walking forward and trying to push him back.
And we do know, of course, that in this weight division, you've got to be either a very, very special boxer or a very powerful one. Preferably both.
Yeah, and there's some good fighters, isn't there, in Great Britain in this weight. Cal Brook, very, very exciting. Lee Purdy, British champion. Denton Vassal, Commonwealth champion. There's some good fights there for Matthew Hatton domestically.
Well, this is what they call the champagne weight. This is the weight that your average Brit walks around at.
And let's not forget Frankie Gavin, who I think will come through. I think he will come good. He's got the skills.
That's not just because he's from the Midlands, is it, Richie?
Well, you know, I know Frankie very well, and he's very, very talented.
I couldn't agree more.
Oh, there's a cut on Matthew Hatton's left eye, above the eye.
There you go.
I don't know where that's come from, Steve, but it's definitely there. And I think Matthew knows it as well.
Well, that's going to spur Abramenka on here. Just an extra target to aim for.
Was it a clash of heads? Was it a punch?
I think it was heads.
Did you, Steve? I didn't see it myself.
No, I think it was a little touch of heads on the inside.
Oh, that was good work from Hatton there. He blocked the shot as he was coming forward and then threw 4 or 5 punches in response.
Yeah, good round again for Matthew.
Accidental, okay?
Ты смотри, как только там что?
Ну я тоже что справа.
Ну все у тебя нормально там. У тебя никаких сетей. Ты смотри, он локоток поднимает наверх. Ну что ты сделал замах ему? Вот, а дай по животу такую. Показал, что
Yeah, good work from Hatton in that round. Don't know where the cut came from, but he was pushing his man back here. I've just heard the referee, look, there's a little cut there now. The blood's just starting to come down. But I just heard the referee above us, Steve, say accidental. He went to both corners, he said accidental, so obviously he means an accidental clash of heads.
Yeah, so if it has to be stopped as a result of the cut, it will go to the scorecards. And it will not be a cuts victory for Abramenka. It will go to the scorecards, and if he's in front, he'll win it.
Fortunately for Matthew Hatton, he's got the best cutsman in the business in his corner, Mick Williamson.
Yeah, but Mick likes his sausages as well. It's a bit of a private joke, actually.
Oh, then that spurred Abramenka on a little bit now. He's looking to land that right hand. Obviously, his corner have told him about that cut. He knows about it. And Matthew, again, with that low lead hand, just getting caught with the odd right hand over the top. And that could make, there you go. So that could make the cut a little bit worse, Steve.
Yes, and that said, those that don't know, by the way, cuts can be treated in this country, in fact, in the boxing world, with adrenaline that's diluted to 1,000 parts of water. That's the treatment for a cut. Have you ever suffered one, Richie? I mean, you're a tall guy, but...
Yeah, I had a couple of nasty cuts. That was mainly through boxing shorter fighters on the inside. I let them in on the inside. They came up with their head, and I had a couple of cuts, but I managed to box at range for the remainder of both the fights where I got cut and come through. You've got to adapt and change, you know, Steve. You get cut, you have to adapt and change your style.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, anyway.
Well, right hand there landed from Abramenka, but doesn't appear to have had a detrimental effect on that cut left eye of Matthew Hatton. Nick Williamson's done a great job.
It was a decent start to the round for Abramenka, and again here, this is better stuff from him. But Steve, everything he's bouncing off Hatton, there's nothing hurting him whatsoever. In fact, it's making Hatton come forward even more.
Well, that was a low blow.
Some nasty marks now, above and below Abramenko's right and left eye, Steve. Little mouse occurring just below that right eye.
Yep, indeed. And that's really a sign of what he's been taking throughout this contest. And just imagine what the inner damage is like. And I don't mean of a neurological nature, but psychologically. Well, interesting round, reasonably close, but Hatton once again.
I'm going to give a 10-10 round that round, Steve.
I will go with you, actually.
Abramenka did a lot better in that round. Again, a lot of it was on the back foot, but occasionally he just stood his ground and he landed some good shots, so I think he gets a share of it.
Yeah, I'll go with you there. It could just be the last hurrah, though, for this Belarus boxer.
Well, he's a tough cookie, because, I mean, I thought I saw signs of him, the body language seen on that stall, round 2, end of round 2, end of round 3, wasn't good at all, but he's still there. And maybe that's the battle here for Matthew Hatton, is to break this guy down mentally. Some good stuff from Abramenka there, over the top of that right hand. But again, Hatton just keeps coming forward.
So round 8 coming up, and I've got to say, I've been looking at Abramenka in the corner. He looked absolutely spent. But he's one of these that manages to maintain his discipline. Well, my prediction was wrong indeed. This is round 8 now. I did anticipate this one ending prior to the halfway point.
Yeah, I totally agree with that person who's shouting those instructions out from outside the ring. Back him up, back him up. That's what Hatton should be doing. Standing his ground a little bit and just giving this fella just time and room to move. Then he's come back with some good shots himself, the Abramenka again. Started the round well.
That's a decent right. Well, once again, Hatton here landing shots. And Abramenka looking very uncomfortable out there in a very subtle way, Richie.
Yeah, he looks so much stronger, doesn't he, as well, Hatton. I think he's actually enjoying it, though, Steve. You know, he's getting the rounds under his belt. Hasn't fought since March. And this really is, for me, it's about, it just keeps him ticking over. There's bigger and better things ahead. He knows that. He can get a good, decent workout here. That's a better shot. And again, he's prepared to take a punch to land one. Just took it on his arms there.
And Matthew doesn't rely on raw power. He's a decent technician. And of course, he hits you often enough and hard enough over the course of a fight.
Below the right eye of Abramenka again there. There's more damage again. Hatton really is fancying it now, coming forward, taking those shots on his arms. Just ploughing forward, Hatton, so relentless. Just no power at all, Steve, is there really from Abramenka? Nothing to trouble Hatton.
Well, it's a great opponent to have, isn't it? Having said that, Richie, power only counts if it lands.
Yes, true. But I mean, Abramenka has landed with, you know, with the odd good right hand here and there. But oh, this is better from Hatton. There you go. Kept his man on the ropes there. That's where he's got to keep him.
Yeah, great attack there from Matthew towards the end of round 7. Big round.
Fantastic round. Brilliant round there. You showed me who the boss was. Got me like what? Pushed him down, get the ball. You shoved him down then. You pushed him out. He cannot work on his back foot, this kid. You're doing that now. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Marcus McDonald, our referee, has just actually said that the punch on the right, the cut has been opened with a punch and not a clash of heads. The Abramenka cut was caused by a punch. I think there's a nick on the left eye, Richie.
Yeah. There's some damage below that right eye as well, Steve, so he's looking in pretty bad shape at the moment, Abramenka.
So round 9 it is, of a schedule 12. And Matthew Hatton absolutely walking this. And I don't wish to be unkind to Abramenka because I've been quite impressed with his boxing ability and his very orthodox skills. But sadly, he doesn't have the power or the strength to deal with Hatton. I say sadly for him.
Yeah, and he has got decent skills. You're quite right, but I would just question whether he could actually make light welter as well. I mean, he doesn't look a big welter. Matthew Hatton looks much bigger than him, much stronger. So I would question whether he could actually make light welter. Maybe that'd be the division for him because he hasn't got the power of a welterweight. Good for Hatton. What he's got to do here now, Steve, he's just got to sustain a little bit more pressure here and just push his man back to the ropes and then put his punches together in 2s and 3s rather than the single shots.
I have a feeling, Richie, and I've been thinking this for a round or two now, that Matthew actually wants the round under his belt. As you said, he said, Ronnie, he didn't box since March. This is his first fight since then. He wants the rounds, and this is a build-up to something bigger. And I think if he wanted to put this guy away, he probably could. What he'd have to do is maintain and sustain an attack.
Yeah, we've got to remember he's 30 years of age now, and certainly ringing activities the biggest opponent for any fighter, and at 30 years of age you have to keep busy. So he hasn't fought since March. This is a good 10 or 12 round workout now, and there are big fights out there for Matthew Hatton.
But do you get the impression that he could put this guy away if he really sustained something?
It would surprise me if he didn't realise that himself, that, you know, he should be just upping the work rate a little bit and sustaining the pressure. Then I would be disappointed if he couldn't see that for himself.
Yes, I think Matthew's now working towards a late stoppage as opposed to a mid-round stoppage. Wins that round as well, 90-72. Sorry, 90-82. Well, so far the only round we've given in Abramenka's, well, not given to Abramenka, but the only credit we've given him is actually a draw on the 8th.
You sure?
Got to come back to the another point about the rule, Richie, that you know, the referee is entitled to stop a contest if a fighter's too far behind to win.
Well, I think Matthew Hatton, apart from one round that he maybe shared, I think he's won every round. But I can't see the referee stopping it here, Steve.
But it's ironic. I mean, you know, you see a lot of guys go through some very, very bad stages late in the fight, and they've got no chance of winning, and they lose every round, and you think, well, why on earth did it go that far? When, of course, the rule does exist, where you can stop a contest if a fighter is in no position of winning.
So at those, Steve, there are some good fights out there for Matthew Hatton domestically, aren't there? People like Cal Brook, Denton Vassalou, I think maybe, I don't know whether he's a stablemate, he's a Manchester lad, isn't he, Denton?
Yeah, but I don't think that Hatton wants to campaign at domestic level. If he did, Richie, you know, I mean, he could be fighting one of those here this evening, couldn't he?
When you look at who's at world level, though, Steve, you know, you got your Victor Ortiz and Manny Pacquiao up there. You know, with all due respect to Matthew, that they're beyond him. I think the European title's vacant at the moment, whether he can go back for his old title there. I think there's 2 Italians that are going to fight for the vacant European title very shortly.
Well, what was that? Was that a low blow?
Saying low, yeah.
Well, there's a point away here from Matthew Hatton for a low blow. That shouldn't bother Matthew too much. Well, that's got his gander up, really, isn't it? Looking to apply pressure here now.
I think Abramenka wished he hadn't took that point off him, to be quite honest, because that sort of spurred him onto a real assault there from Matthew Hatton.
Well, Hatton well on top here, but of course he has lost a point in this round, and so has Abramenka, because he's not winning it. So you'd think a 9-9 round, but it is the 10-point must system, so both boxers will end up with 10 points. Had Abramenka, of course, done enough work to win the round as well, he'd be winning it at 10-8, but that's not the case.
Oh, that's better from Hatton. He definitely hurt him there.
Yes,
Abramenka him getting hurt there, Steve.
Yes, Abramenka looking quite disorganised now, but the round has come to an end. 10-all. So we've got 2 rounds to go, round 11 coming up, and well, full marks really to Andrei Abramenka, who's actually survived a pretty decent onslaught from Matthew Hatton, who is going to get back into the title stakes.
Round 11.
So this is the penultimate session, and Matthew Hatton in the white and gold shorts. He's a street in front here. And that right eye now of Abramenka's looking quite angry, Richie.
Yeah, a lot of damage there for Abramenka. But you've got to take your hat off to him, because he's took, you know, punch after punch, and mentally he's a very tough fella. Got some decent boxing skills. He just lacks the power, Steve. But if I was looking after him, I would certainly consider moving down a weight to light welter.
Yes, that's a very good point. It does look like he's got weight on his legs that he could lose.
And he's punching like a light welterweight, Steve, you know.
Well, I actually thought he was punching a lot lighter than that, Richie, but if you get my drift.
Yeah. I mean, Matthew himself, he's never been known as a devastating puncher. He's got 16 knockouts in his career. He's more of a worker. He's a stiff puncher. Is Hatton, but himself doesn't possess that real knockout quality.
Well, that was a nice little jab to the face there from Matthew. It's not necessarily one-sided, Richie, but I think the outcome is pretty much sealed, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, Hatton's just been totally in control in this round. However, Abramenka's he's had his fair share of this round for me. Has he done enough to win it? Well,
I don't think so.
It's more of a case of Hatton just taking his foot off the gas more than Abramenka up in his work rate, I think, here.
Yeah, another round in the bag there for Matthew Hatton, albeit a reasonably close one. Well, 9 points to gap now, Richie, if we agree, with 1 to play. 110 to 101.
Last round, okay, last round.
Yeah, if this fight for Hatton was to get some rounds under his belt, well, they've picked the perfect opponent for him.
Yes, he's certainly a very decent boxer. Lacks power without a doubt, but you know, he's got pride, Richie.
So remember, fast hands downstairs, back on the jab. Yeah, last round. Yeah, everything now, man. Oh, come on, Matt, you're the man. Well, you look great.
Corners, 10 seconds. Seconds out. 12th final round.
Indeed it is, then the 12th and final round here, and this will not be a decider by any means. But interestingly, nonetheless.
Well, Abramenka will probably be equally as determined to get through this round, to actually finish this contest standing on his feet. He's been well beaten, but as you said, Steve, he has got pride. and he'll want to get to the end of the contest.
Yeah, and he's busted up around both eyes. And you want to see him get through it, really, Richie, don't you? Because, you know, he's taking a lot of stick.
Yeah, he looked like he was very discouraged from about the second or third round onwards, so he's done well in that sense that he's got to the last round after being under so much pressure.
Well, brother Ricky, a very ardent supporter over to our right, watching this ardently. Not taking his eye off the fight for a second. Don't forget, this is down to 3 judges. Howard Foster, Phil Edwards, who's directly across from me, and over on my left-hand side, Dave Paris. Referee Marcus McDonald does not score.
Abramenka's actually doing quite well in this round, Steve. He's stood his ground a little bit more. Just as I say that, then he starts to move back, but...
Well, you know what it's like, Richie, when you know you've only got a round to go, you can tend to put out a few stops, can't you?
Yeah.
And it's not as if Abramenka was ever in with a puncher's chance.
A little bit desperate now, Abramenka, holding on. Oh, made a bad mistake there, walked onto that one, just overreached a little bit. One thing about Hatton, he's maintained a good pace. You know, he hasn't forced his march, but he shook those cobwebs off tonight, and in terms of his fitness, he's looked quite impressive. Keeps coming forward, throwing a lot of punches.
Oh, that's a nice right-hand left hook there from Matthew. And there's the final bell. Well, there wasn't a whole lot in the last round, but I think overall, do you think a Hatton round, Richie?
Yeah, I think Hatton won the last round. It wasn't his best round. I thought Abramenka did a little bit better, but overall, Matthew certainly won that round.
So there you are then, that's the main event over, and it looks like a pretty decent win for Matthew Hatton. And, you know, I've got to say that in analysis here, Richie, that it looked like Hatton wanted the rounds under his belt.
Yeah, he certainly did. I think he's up against a very stubborn opponent who was there to take him the distance. And you said it, Steve, he has got the rounds under his belt and he can go on to bigger and better things now.
Yes, but there were times, I think, Richie, when it's fair to say that Matthew, with a bit of extra pressure, could possibly have brought about the downfall of Abramenka earlier.
Yeah, I think so. I think he, at some stages in this contest, he could have stopped Abramenka, but he seemed to just back off a little bit. Overall, it was a fairly good performance in terms of his fitness. But Steve, it's going to get harder for obviously Hatton. He wants to get back into the title picture, back into the title race, either for the European, his old title, or maybe stepping up for a world title. But at 30 years of age, he hasn't got long.
Well, he's chasing the IBF now, isn't he? He's got the IBF International Welterweight Title. As far as we're concerned, of course, the judges may decide that Andrei Abramenka has won it, although I doubt it. So that's a course he's going to be taking, isn't it? It's towards the IBF Championship.
Yeah, which is the champion is Zan Zavek, isn't it, of Slovenia. He's the IBF champion, and maybe that's the route that Matthew wants to take. He certainly wants to avoid people like Manny Pacquiao, the WBO champion, or Victor Ortiz, the WBC, who's about to fight Floyd Mayweather. So yeah, IBF route. Jan Zavek of Slovenia, maybe.
Here we go then for the official verdict. Don't forget, 120, 110 on my card, Richie.
Steve, you've been reading my card, have you?
Sorry, you've got it the same as I have, or I've got it the same as you have. Here we go. Looks like there's a bit of left-hand damage here also for Abramenka. He was squealing when they took his gloves off. Yep, well done, boys.
What a great contest, ladies and gentlemen. After 12 3-minute rounds of welterweight boxing, we go to our judges for the decisions at ringside, who return a unanimous verdict. Howard Foster scores the contest 118-110. Dave Parrish scores the contest 118-109. Phil Edwards at ringside scores the contest 118-109. In favour of our winner and new IBF International Welterweight Champion from Manchester.
Yeah, Matthew Hatton declared the winner. And all three judges, Richie, agreed that Matthew Hatton won it, but they were miles out on the scores.
Yeah, good win for Matthew Hatton there.
Yeah, no
rounds under his belt, Steve, did at the end of the day. That's what he's done here.